Danny, what's the mindset, the approach, perspective on the first day of training? Looking toward it'll be a long year, but it seems like you've added some exciting pieces in the off season, and obviously the same sort of returning core players that we're used to seeing.
Yeah, I think first and foremost we're excited to be back on the field. Obviously, at this point we're getting the group together, starting to form those relationships, which becomes really important. And the emphasis here in the first 8-9 days before we get away is to make sure we're building our fitness, starting to work on the principles of how we want to play. And we're looking forward to getting started.
When you
go, no, you go. I insist.
Hey, thanks. Appreciate it. Means a lot to me. So, Danny, when you're at a place that has so much high expectations, even though you had a good year last year, when you don't meet those, how much is there just like that added fuel and motivation to just get out here and train and just try to still have that high level of just workout?
Yeah, I think you want to get right back on the field after that last game. So from a motivation standpoint, I've put a focus on making sure we're bringing players in that obviously have quality but that are hungry, that have the right mentality. I felt last year there were too many moments where we made excuses for ourselves. And so we tried to do a good job in our player recruitment and our interviews of making sure we're bringing in the right players. And from a motivation standpoint, a lot of these guys that we've brought in, they haven't won anything. They're good players who have had success in the league individually, but they're coming here to win, and they're coming here to win a trophy. And they understand those expectations. We go through all those things in the interview before they get here. And so for us, we love that expectation. I wouldn't want it any other way. And it's something that, we believe if we focus on our process, do things the right way, we'll put ourselves in a position to be able to do that.
When you guys always make it deep into the playoffs.
Yeah.
It is a long, long season, especially starting on January 25th. How do you handle that with this group? Because in other sports, I remember like the Golden State Warriors, when they were making all those runs to the NBA Finals, they were like, look, it's long, you get burnout.
Yeah.
But your all season's even longer. How do you handle that as a coach with this?
Yeah, I think we talk a ton already. We spoke about it yesterday and today about the resiliency that you need in those moments. It's a journey. There's going to be ups and downs. There's no question about it. Every year there is. But can you be resilient in the way that we want? Can you make sure you're doing everything the right way on a daily basis? And understanding that in those journeys there are those ups and downs is where you put yourself in a good position to be able to deal with it. And again, the mental strength of the group becomes really, really important, and they work hard on that. It's a tool, right? And so we understand those things. You meet them head on, especially when they come, and do the best that you can with the group to make sure they push forward.
Wilson is a guy who signed back up. He's back. Do you see his role expanding from what he has been so far here?
Yeah, I think. Listen, he dealt with some injury issues last year. Still scored a lot of goals for us, and he's come in and you can tell he's fit. You can tell he's hungry, and you can tell he's ready to go. So I expect him to play a huge role this year. He's got a lot of quality year after year. He scores goals, and there's no doubt in my mind that we're putting pieces around him that can help him score even more.
For you as the coach, when in terms of finding leaders, like obviously you have guys that have been in the system, but is it you as the coach that kind of makes those leaders, or do they kind of take that charge, or how do you go about that process?
Yeah, I think it's an important piece of what we want to do here. So when you look at Ordonez, who's not here yet, dealing with his visa stuff, he's a player that wore the armband where he was before. He is a natural leader, right? And you try to make sure that you talk about those things when you're interviewing before you get here. And then when you look at the guys that are returning that understand what leadership is, understand what it takes to be successful, I think that becomes really important. And the respect piece, earning that from your teammates, is a big piece of it. So we've tried to do a good job of bringing players in that we believe have the leadership qualities that we need here and that we want here. And then obviously there are other players who maybe don't lead with their voice, but they lead with their action, right? There's a lot of different ways to do that. So we have a group that's coming together now, and it's going to take time like anything, but we're excited about that.
Taylor, the addition of him, what do you think that he brings to this club?
I think he's a huge addition for us. Unbelievable football player, has good size, good quality in the final third and defensively. When we look at the all-around attributes that he has, he's a perfect fit for us. So we're excited to get him in. We've already seen him a few times here with the group, and we're really happy with how he looks.
With Paulo having retired, the captain role isn't as shut and closed as it has been in the past. I know you place a lot of emphasis on the mental side of things. Can you kind of talk us through what that process is going to look like and that determination, like rough timeline or anything like that?
Yeah, so first and foremost, that obviously happened really quickly. And we've put him in a position now where he can grow in what's next for him, and we're happy about that. When you talk about leadership, he was an incredible captain for us and an incredible leader. When we look at moving forward, I'm going to take most of preseason to see how that looks and to see who steps up in the absence. And it's not just on the field. In the video room, which I believe in, we're in there every day. And that voice in there, him not being there, is going to be very different. And so I want to see who steps up. I want to see who wants to take that challenge on, because it is a challenge. But I have ideas of who I think that can be, and we're going to see if it comes to fruition.
Now, in terms of your roster, I know you kind of alluded to potential a few more signings happening. I see a lot of faces out here I don't fully recognize. Can you kind of give us an update on those? I know goalkeeper was one of them you're still kind of looking for.
Yeah, so we have trialists out here. We are still looking for 2, maybe 3 more signings on the field. From a goalkeeper standpoint, we'll have something to announce here soon. I know who I want, and I feel confident that that'll get announced here in the near future. So we're on the right path of how I want the group to look. But I'm not just bringing anybody in here. That's another piece of it. Listen, so many names come across my desk because this is Louisville City. But I'm very particular in what I want and who we want here to represent the club, both on and off the field. And while someone might be a great player who scored 15 goals, that doesn't mean they're going to fit the mentality and the culture that we want. So we've tried to do a good job of bringing in the players that we know, as I talked about before, are well-rounded. But I'm not just going to sign a player because they have a big name. Good?
Thank you, brother.
Sir.